Hi everyone, welcome to KG Techs. So this is the continuation part of last video which I had uploaded on Microsoft Azure Active Directory authentication with our Django application. Okay. So in last video we have seen we had created one Azure login project in Django and then we have created one application, okay, which basically renders one simple HTTP response which is hey login successful. Post the user will be authenticated with our Azure Active Directory. Okay, so today we are going to see how we can fetch some of the user details from Microsoft Graph APIs. Okay, so in previous video I had registered one application in Azure Active Directory. Okay, so I had registered with HTML login app and I had made the necessary configuration inside this application. Okay, so for to get the details using Microsoft Graph APIs you need to enable some permissions here. Okay, so you need to enable some of the user read details, user.read.all, some profile related information. Okay, here. So, so you need to go to the add permissions. First, you have to click on the API permissions, then click on the add a permission, then select Microsoft Graph, and you have to give a delegate permissions. Okay, so here if you can see, I have already selected email, profile, and some of the details you have to select it from the users tab. Okay, so here you can see I have already selected user.read, user.read.basic.all, etc. and I have clicked on the add permissions. Okay, so all the permissions will be added over here, you can see, and whenever it is required you can give the admin consent. Okay, as a yes, so you have to click on the grant admin consent. Okay, so if you remember last time we had added a couple of details in our .env file. Okay, so I have created one sample underscore env txt file. So this file basically contains your client ID, client secret, and tenant ID. And here we have Azure Active Directory URL. Okay, so this URL basically will help us to get the authentication token. Okay, we call that as a graph token. So what I'm going to do now, I will just replace this all the values with constant. Okay, so I will just change this as a tenant ID, client ID, client secret, and I'm going to add one more detail which is AD underscore URL. Okay, which will have os.get env and your key name. Okay, and then I will replace this all the values here. Okay, so earlier we had used the small case, right? Sorry, this should be our client ID. So our tenant ID, and we are going to use client secret. Okay, so these are the changes that you need to make in the setting.py file. Okay, now we will go to views.py file. Okay, so first of all we will add one docstring here to access Microsoft Graph API for user details. Okay, get user details from Microsoft Graph APIs. Okay, so now first of all what we need to do is we need to get the graph token. Okay, so to get the graph token we need to write graph underscore token is equal to, so let me just first define one method here. Okay, get graph token, get graph token from Azure Active Directory URL. Okay, so in URL we need to provide. Okay, so to fetch this value from the settings.py file, we need to import, okay, settings. Okay, so from django.conf import settings. Okay, so here we need to use settings dot, and we have to provide the exact variable name here. Okay, then we are going to pass the headers to this URL which contains the HTTP request. So we'll use content type application slash x www form slash URL encoded. Okay, and access application slash JSON. So we are going to create a data dictionary which will hold your grant type, okay, which is client underscore credentials, then your client ID. This again, this value we will fetch it from settings.py file, settings dot client underscore ID, then your client secret, secret scope. So this is basically your default scope, graph.microsoft.com slash dot default. Okay, now we are going to make the post request. Okay, to make the request we need to import request requests, request dot post URL is equal to URL, headers is equal to headers, and data is equal to data. Okay, and the JSON response which we will get it, we are going to store it into response variable. Okay, so response will hold whatever the response we will get it from this post request. Then this we will convert into the Python data types. Okay, JSON underscore response is equal to response dot JSON, return JSON response. Okay, so this function, basically this method will return this JSON response. We'll use try catch here, except return none. Okay, so graph token, we will call this method get graph token. Okay, so here if we get any graph token, then only we are going to write the further logic. Okay, otherwise we will return some response to the user. Okay, so here what we are going to do, if we get the graph token, we will call one of the users, you call one of the Microsoft Graph API, which will return us some of the user details. Okay, so let's say URL is equal to https graph.microsoft.com slash version 1.0 slash users slash plus request dot user dot username. Okay, so this request basically contains few details. Okay, so here if you see in claim mapping, we have already added first name, last name, email. Okay, so basically your UPN, your family name, and your given name. Okay, so these details we will already be having post successful authentication in the request. Okay, so this all the details will be get saved into the database. Okay, so currently I'm using SQLite database, but whatever the database that you are going to use it in there, you can get the all the details, okay, saved into the database. Okay, so here also we are going to use headers. These headers will hold the dictionary values, that is authorization. So this basically the token which we are going to use is which will use the bearer token. Okay, so I'm going to use bearer slash plus graph token. Okay, now let me show you one thing. Okay, so here we will just mention print graph token. Okay, I will just comment this code for a while. Python manage.py run server. I'm starting my local server. Okay, I'm just running this application. Okay, so we got this error description. The scope HTTP. Okay, I think I have made some spell mistake here, some typo error. Graph.microsoft.com and it's a default. Okay, and here also I have made one mistake. It should not be except, it's a except. Okay, so let me save and yeah, our server is already running. So let me refresh this page. Okay, now you can see here, this is the response which we are getting from the get graph token. Okay, so which where we have token type as a bearer token when it expires, and this is the access token. Okay, this basically is our access token. Okay, so what we need from this token is we just need a access token. Okay, so what I will do is I will enable this code, and from here I will just pick the access token. Okay, comma, and then I will use the content type. Application slash JSON. Okay, since this is the GET request, we don't have to put, add anything in the body. So I will just use response is equal to requests dot get, URL is equal to URL, and headers is equal to headers. And then this response we will convert into the Python data types and store it into JSON response. Okay, so here you can see the response which we get it from the server. Okay, from this basically from this URL. Okay, I'm just using print statement. Once again, I'm reloading this application, and here you can see, okay, this is the some of the users basic details this API has written to us. Okay, so you can see we have a display name of this user, the user which we have logged in into Daniel Kim. Then we have a given name, job title. We didn't provide any mail, so it returns just none, and it provides the mobile phone and office location, etc. details. Okay, so we will just fetch the required details from this response. Okay, so I will use f string to return the proper string, proper print statement. So we'll use display name, then JSON response, and we'll use this display name. Okay, so we'll fetch a couple of more details. We'll get job title. Okay, I will just copy and paste. We'll use the office location. And we'll fetch the mobile number as well. Okay. Okay, this application is reloading now, and I will just refresh this page. 1 second. So you can see here, whatever the print statement we have used, we are getting these details. Okay, we are getting display name, job title as a financial analyst, office location, and the mobile number. Okay, so okay, let me use try catch here. Accept. Return. HTTP response. Unable to fetch user details from Graph APIs. Okay. We'll do one thing. I will just move this try above if statement. Okay. And here we will do one more thing. We will just, hey, we'll respond the username. Okay. JSON response. And we had given name as a Daniel. Okay, we'll just use the single inverted comma here. Okay, so what I will do is I will relaunch this browser once again. Okay, so I will get this email ID. We'll open the incognito window and we'll use the localhost 8000. Okay, so this basically will ask you to authenticate ourselves with Azure Active Directory. Okay, it is taking longer than usual. We'll just give this user ID as a daniel.kim. Provide the password. Don't show again. Yes. And now you can see here is the response which we have got from the API Graph APIs. Okay. So earlier we had written the HTTP response only, hey, login successful. Now with the help of Microsoft Graph APIs, we are successfully able to get the username. Okay. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day.